guys, it's Sam, and this is the Mean Girls book tag. This tag was created by the lovely Sarah Jane of The Book Life. I will link her channel down below. She is also the person that tagged me. This is a really fun tag because number one, it's Mean Girls. Who doesn't love Mean Girls? Mean Girls like defined my teenage years and college and my current life, basically. Nothing can top Mean Girls in my head as far as a comedy because it's just beautiful, genius, amazing. And also Sarah Jane was running a lot of these questions by Kristen from Cat9X and I because we all talk basically daily on Voxer, so it was kind of fun to see this tag come together and then be able to finally do this tag because it's been kind of in the works for a few weeks, so I'm really excited about it. So let's get going. Question number one.
Her name is Cady. Cady Heron. Where are you, Cady?
That's me. It's pronounced like Cady.
Which fictional characters' names did you get completely wrong? I am horrible at pronunciations, like all of them, so basically any fantasy story I can never pronounce the names or the places or anything. And I'll even say it in my head in a way that when I read it out I know that it doesn't sound like that, but in my head I'll still say it differently. But the one that I thought of the most for this was obviously the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. It doesn't matter that there's a pronunciation guide. I know there is. Actually, when I was reading Throne of Glass, I was looking at the pronunciation guide, trying to make sure that I had it in my head. It doesn't matter. I pronounce all of the names wrong. I have Selena down, and Dorian, and Kale, and even Kale took a while because I wasn't really sure. But as far as the rest of the names, pretty much, especially the places, I just can't. Let's try to see if I can find something to really display this. So for example, even though it's not that hard, Adarlan, I think, is the name of one of the places. I say it Ardlan in my head, even though it's not spelled that way. To me, it is. Question number two.
She doesn't even go here!
Which character would you like to place in a fictional world from another book or series? I actually have a lot that I could have picked for this, but ultimately I think Mira from Snow Like Ashes would go really well in the Fallen Kingdoms world. She's kick butt, but she's also very smart, and there's just a lot about her that I think would fit really well in the Fallen Kingdoms world, and she'd get along with the bunch of people that are in here because there's a plethora of characters in here, and I think that she would just fit in really well with what's going on in this world, and she'd be pretty helpful. Question number three.
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
I wanted to wear pink for this, but I don't actually own anything pink because pink on my skin tone as far as clothing goes doesn't really work out very well, but I wore my pink lipstick, so I'm still trying. Repetition, repetition. Which book gave you deja vu for another book while reading it? This may be the answer for a lot of people, but Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard had a lot of elements from other books in it, especially Hunger Games and stuff like that. A lot of very popular dystopians and even some fantasies. The same kind of elements popped up in this book, so I was definitely thinking of other books while reading this one. Question number four.
You all have got to stop calling each other sluts and whores. It just makes it okay for guys to call you sluts and whores.
Which book gave you the complete opposite of girl power feels? I actually really try to avoid books like that, so the only one that I could really think of was Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire, which I strongly dislike for so many reasons. There is a review that I've done as well as a gripe about this, which will be linked on the screen as well as down below. No girl power feels with this one. There's a ton of slut shaming and there's a ton of abusive behavior and it's just not a good time. Question number five.
Glen Coco? Fall for you, Glen Coco! You go, Glen Coco!
Name a character you felt like you wanted to cheer on while reading. This should come as no surprise to anyone, but it is Alina from the Grisha trilogy, and Sarah Jane said the same thing, but we all buddy read this together, Sarah Jane, Kristen, and I, and basically there's a scene in every single book where Alina just does something badass, but especially in this book, and I'm not going to even say anything about it, so don't worry, but there's a scene that I still think about and I still get chills where I'm just like, you are so amazing, and it's such a good scene, and she is one of my favorite female characters pretty much because of this scene, because it is one of the most powerful and badass scenes I've ever seen. This scene topped so many scenes for me, nothing else compares to it, I adore it. It's amazing, and that scene, I think I was literally cheering her on during that scene. It was amazing. She's my precious baby. Question number six.
Get in, loser, we're going shopping.
How long do you typically spend in a bookstore? I do a lot of my book shopping online because I don't have a physical bookstore really close to me. When I do go to Barnes & Noble, I will probably spend about an hour or two in there, and I don't really buy a ton of books in physical bookstores, like even when I go to Barnes & Noble, but I look at them in person so I can like see them and touch them and like see exactly how big the books are, because when you see them online or even in like a video, you have no idea like how long is this book really, or like what does it look like, how big is it? You have no idea, so I just typically sit there and like just pick them all up and look at them, even though I know if I want to buy it or not, and I probably have it on my Amazon wishlist or something. I will just like pet them in the store. Yep. Question number 7.
You know what? It's not my fault you're like in love with me or something. What?
Which character would have to get a restraining order on you if they were real? This is a really hard question for me because while I love a lot of characters and a lot of the love interests in different books, I don't typically want them for myself, so I really wouldn't stalk them or anything because a lot of the people that I love are scary people and bad and would probably not hesitate to kill me if I was really bothering them that much, so I don't really know of a good answer for this one. The one least likely to kill me in real life because he's not actually a scary person, somebody that I legitly kind of do want to date out of all of the guys that I do know from the fictional stories that I read, is Captain Thorne from the Lunar Chronicles series. He is everything. He's very important to me, and I don't think that he would mind so much that I would be stalking him because I think he has experience with that. So it's fine. Question number 8.
But I can't help it that I'm popular.
Which overhyped book were you cautious about reading? So many of them. There are so many book series I've put off because they are hyped, and typically speaking I do enjoy them, but there have been a lot of books that I haven't enjoyed that have been really hyped. So I put off books for a long time when they're hyped. But I think one of them I put off the longest was The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I just was nervous to start this series. I adore it now, and I've only read the first one so far, but I put this one off for a long time. I got it for Christmas, and I only read it very recently, I think last month, and I was nervous, guys, but it's worth the hype. It's worth the hype. Question number 9.
Because she's a life ruiner. She ruins people's lives.
We all love Regina George. Name a villain you couldn't help but love. The Darkling from the Grisha trilogy. I hate to use repeat books, but he is perfect. He is the perfect villain. I have not found one that I love as much as I love him. Question number 10.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Your favorite fictional parents. Sarah Jane actually said the same thing, but I recently read If I Stay on audiobook, and Mia's parents are perfect. They're also really well cast in the movie. I have a lot of problems with the movie, but they are really well cast in the movie. They are really great parents, and they're just so fun. They're kind of like former rocker parents, and they just strike a really perfect balance between being like fun parents but also actual parents that like discipline their children and stuff. So I really loved them and I was very attached to them. Question number 11.
So fetch.
Which book or series would you love to catch on? This book series doesn't get nearly enough hype, and that is The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. This whole trilogy is amazing. It is full of diverse characters. The main character is an overweight main character. She's also a person of color. The majority of the people in this series are people of color, and there's also a lot of disabled characters. It is amazing, and there is all these themes of like religion, but not in a way that's pushy, and just feminism, and so much. It is such a good series, and I know there are some really hardcore fans of it, but it does not get as much hype as it should. It should be way more hyped, and I absolutely adore it. So if you haven't read this series yet, definitely go check it out. Question number 12.
How do I even begin to explain Regina George?
Describe your ideal character to read about. You guys probably already know this from the books that I like, but I enjoy morally gray characters. I enjoy criminals, so assassins, thieves, car thieves, spaceship thieves, whatever. Any kind of criminal element character that's morally gray, I really enjoy. Sassy, typically with a love interest that they hate at the beginning and then grow to love over time, like over the course of the trilogy or series or something. Those elements give me life. I love them so much, and you can usually tell from the series that I love that that is what I love so much. I just. Question number 13.
I just have a lot of feelings. Okay, go home.
What do you do when a book gives you a bad case of the feels? While I'm reading it, I usually update my Goodreads in a spoiler-free way, as well as my Twitter, just to say that like I'm feeling emotions and it's hurting me. And then if I have a friend that I know has read the series, then I will message them on whatever messaging system I use to talk to those people, whether it's texting or Kik or Voxer or whatever, and try to kind of fangirl with them. And most importantly, at the end of reading a book and that's given me a lot of feels, is going on Tumblr. Tumblr saves my life in those situations. As soon as I finish a book and I'm having a lot of emotions about it, I will go on Tumblr and peruse the entire tag and just have emotions and reblog things, and it's just how I get my feelings out as best as possible. But usually I will finish a book like really late at night because I'll be having a lot of feels and have to read it really late into the night, and go on Tumblr until like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Question number 14.
Nice wig, Janice. What's it made of?
Your mom's chest hair.
Which characters' one-liners would you love to claim for your own? I've obviously already named a lot of sassy characters whose one-liners I would love to claim for my own. Nikolai from the Grisha trilogy is one of them, and Thorn from the Lunar Chronicles is another one. They just have really great one-liners. But in order to kind of diversify this tag and make sure I'm not mentioning the same books over and over, I would definitely choose Saba and or Jack from Blood Red Road. This is the first book in the Dustlands trilogy. They are both sassy with a lot of banter. I think Jack even more so than Saba, and some of the things that they say to each other is just like perfection and just really needles the other one, so I love their one-liners. Question number 15.
Boo, you whore.
Name a time when a character decision made you roll your eyes. In To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, the main character, Laura Jean, does some things that I'm just always rolling my eyes at. She has a lot of immaturity, especially in the first book. I haven't read the second book yet, but there's a lot of things about her that are kind of immature and at times is endearing, only at the beginning. And then she really starts to frustrate me, and some of the things that she does and the way that she handles things, it's true to her character, but it's also really infuriating, and I just am like, Laura Jean, get it together. So there's a lot of things that she does in this book that I'm kind of rolling my eyes at. Alright guys, that is it for the Mean Girls tag. Comment down below and let me know what some of your favorite lines from Mean Girls are, as well as some of the answers to the questions that are asked in here. I'm also going to tag a few people. I'm going to tag Grace from Grace with a Book in Her Face. I'm going to tag Kenya from My Little Bookshelf. And I'm going to tag Victoria from Victoria Shays, Shaz, however I pronounce her name. I never know and I really need to ask her. So all the other channels will be linked down below. Thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!